What is going on, guys? It is Big Mike here. We are back today with another Slow Bros podcast, and I'm here with my co-host Nick. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good, Mike. How about yourself?
I'm very excited. We have a pretty special guest who holds the Mob of the Dead world record, Rave in the Redwoods world record, and he's been in the community for a long time. We got Stealth. How you doing, Stealth?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Just like I said, really excited. We got a lot of interesting topics going on today, all the way from
Mhm.
Mob of the Dead to Infinite Warfare to patched RNG on zombies. So should be a good one, boys. So Nick, do you want to start it off with the interview?
Yep, we'll start off with the interview questions, Stealth. First question we got for you is what got you into just video games, man?
Video games? I would have to say Pokemon. Uh, Way back in the day, whenever I was in preschool, I would play Pokemon on my Game Boy. Leaf Green, I think, was my first one, but I think where I really fell in love with it was Diamond. So
Yeah,
I played with like some of my friends from preschool and my cousin all the time.
I think Pokemon was probably one of my first games too. We always end up talking about this with people. Like it seems like
Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody's first game was Pokemon, dude.
seems to be a trend, I gotta
Yeah.
say.
Yep. If you don't like Pokemon, you're a hater. It's just that simple.
Didn't have a childhood.
Exactly. All right, next question. What is your favorite video game of all time? Can be any video game.
Gotta be zombies. I mean, it's the game I've put way too much time into, but also the most time into. Uh, I mean, I think I like it for a couple reasons, like uh, strategy, and then just the in-depth mechanics of the game really keep me coming back. So,
Fair answer. Fair answer. All right, what was your first zombies map of all time,
uh,
if you remember?
Kino would have been the first thing I played, like first ever map that I played. I think my cousin got me into it, and we used to try to get the highest round out of just me and him.
Mhm.
But then, like, whenever I started actually taking zombies seriously, Kino was also my first 100. So,
What strat did you run, and like what year was that when you got your first 100 on Kino?
first 100 on Kino was, I want to say, 2015.
Okay.
And I ran Fire Trap, Double Trap, whatever.
S-
So,
So Fire Trap was a thing all the way back then. That's interesting.
yeah, I think it's been around a long time,
I
way
guess
before I got here.
I guess just because I was a casual back then, like stage was the only thing on my mind, and for most people, like
Hmm.
stage was the only thing they were thinking about. Meanwhile, people are out here grinding Fire Trap and playing much faster and more efficiently. So that's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's still a bunch of people playing stage this
Oh
day.
my god.
Yeah. I'll browse through BO1 and see people playing stage.
Yep.
It's like, what the heck is going on?
They have like a T gun and like a papped commando or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
I try to help them out and they just ignore me.
Well,
Yep.
if you're playing stage, I can guarantee you if you try Fire Trap Room, you're going to get fucked instantly. So I
Oh,
would
yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody who's like on round 40 or something running stage to just transition mid game to Fire Trap because that is not going to go well.
Yeah, it's a big step up for sure. Fire Trap's not hard, but definitely a big step up from stage.
Yep. All right. Next question, Stealth. What is your favorite zombies map of all time?
I hate this question. I knew
It's
you
a
were gonna
default
ask, and I
question, right?
hate this question. Uh, I mean, I guess right now, Rave is my favorite,
Mhm,
just because it's fresh. I've played way too much of Mob, um, so yeah, I feel like I'm still learning things
mhm.
about Rave, whereas Mob, I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot that I can learn. Like, There's little bits here and there, but Rave is just a whole new beast for me to take on. So I'd have to say Rave is my favorite right now.
Yeah, I think
All right.
asking the question like favorite zombies map of all time is kind of trash, but asking like what's your favorite zombies map at the moment is probably
Yeah,
a
that's
better
I think it's a
question.
better question.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Next
Last
question.
question. What is your favorite zombies memory of all time?
Favorite zombies memory?
Yeah, just like anything you've done. Like,
I would say the 228 and the 233 that I got on Mob, those were
Mhm.
both records. So that was pretty awesome. First world record. I think it was first that I held. And then getting the rave record was pretty cool until about a month after the game, but I'll explain that later. Uh, so
Yeah, I was
outs
hyped when you got that rave record, dude. A couple minutes into the round, huh?
Yeah, dude, I don't know why I was getting nervous. I was like, I feel like something bad's about to happen.
Mhm.
And then 3 minutes in, it I was like, thank God I didn't tie.
Yeah, thank God, dude.
So lucky. But outside of that, playing with my cousin at his house was a lot of fun back in the day when I was a casual. So
some fair answers.
Yeah.
All right. So now we will get into our first topic. Mike, you want to take over?
Yeah, so before we get into talking about Stealth's Mob of the Dead world record, there's obviously a bunch of stuff that went on before that. So the world record obviously between the time that Mob of the Dead came out and 2021 has changed like a shit ton. So one of the first more notable world records was 222 by Daniska, I believe. Stealth, do you know like what strat he ran for that 222 or anything like that? Like what is different from that to how mobs played now?
uh, yeah, so I'm actually gonna back up a little bit
Mhm.
and mention Space Marines game. He had a 214, which was the record before Daniska's 222.
Mhm.
Um, the reason he only got 214 was he had been getting a bunch of hunk errors, and to avoid that, he decided that he would stop throwing the tomahawk at round 200,
Oh god.
which did get him a reset, I
Mhm.
think. Um, but also slowed his game down quite a bit. So, and for Daniska to beat it, all he did was just start using the tomahawk, or not start using, but he just kept using the tomahawk the whole game in
Mhm.
hopes that he wouldn't error, and he got 222. So,
Okay. And
um, go ahead, go ahead.
between that 222 and let's say the 228, were there any other notable records that new things were found out that you would want to go into?
Um, so yeah, there was one record tied three different ways
Mhm.
between Gamer O'Neill, Lamster, and Steve.
Mhm.
They got 223. Uh, O'Neill and Steve played pretty similar games, I think.
Mhm.
Lamster was actually on pace for, I think, like 225, and he just got fucked. I don't know. I don't remember what happened, but something bad happened to his game.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think he may have reset early or
Ooh.
got an error. I don't remember. Um, and then after that was my 228. So, which actually I think before we started, I saw your little list of record history, and you had Lamster 227,
Mhm.
but that was actually gotten days after I got my 228. We were playing at
Really?
the same time. He was playing faster, and he reset early, if I remember correctly, at like 102 hours, even though he had done everything to extend reset the same as I had. So he should have swooped me, but he got fucked.
S-
So
So,
Uh,
what is like causing reset to be shortened? Because I know you said like some of these games had like significantly shorter reset times than, for example, your 233 game.
yeah, so like for instance, me and MC, I think we both had games reset at 96.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is we left the gas can sitting around the map. Uh, we didn't pick up the spoon and fork
Mm-hmm.
for the golden spork. And I think we both left claymores sitting on the map.
Mm.
And people were actually telling me that that's why they thought reset was being so short is because I was leaving claymores, and I was just like, "Nah, that couldn't be it. That couldn't be it."
Mm-hmm.
That was it. So I looked
Really?
like an idiot, but it all worked out, which
Yeah,
was pretty nice.
that's kind of
So
crazy. And that like adds up to how many hours between 96 and a half and your reset on 233?
almost 10
Really? Just from those few things?
if I'm mathing. Nope, I'm not mathing right. 8.
Okay, that's
Gonna
that's
have a math degree and can't add and subtract.
That
Awesome.
that's pretty insane, man. Just from those little things. Do the like entities add up over all the rounds, or how exactly does that work?
I mean, they just compound on top of each other pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, like, they're always on the map, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often it refreshes, I do need to figure that out. But, yeah, so, I mean, every time it refreshes, that's an extra, like, uh, 18 entities, if I remember correctly,
Mm-hmm.
that's just compounding on top of each other, wasting your time, so,
Yeah.
um, and then after my 228 was 233,
Mm-hmm.
and the biggest thing about this game was, like, I tried to keep Cherry the whole game just because why not?
Mm-hmm.
I kinda just did it on a whim in the middle of my game, made that decision, and it worked out, and it kind of further proved that redacted BO2 and console BO2, not the same,
Mm-hmm.
not the same, which is I think that's the reason Deniska got pissed off and left,
Mm-hmm.
because at the start, I was unwilling to say that they weren't the same because we didn't have evidence, but, uh, now we definitely do have evidence, and he was correct, and, boards definitely should be split, for BO2 and BO1 as well. I mean, like, you can't do trade strats on BO1, console at least, so which is a huge disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Boards need to be split on whatever record site people, uh, choose to use. So,
Yeah. I know when they started up ZBC, they kind of tried to do that. I don't know how well it was implemented. I feel like it was a little bit kind of a pain in the ass to see where the records were with each console, each platform. But I do agree with you. I think on a game like BO1, obviously you can't hit the box after, like, you can't hit a box a certain amount of times because you'll get a bunch of frame lag. Or on
right.
BO2, just like you said with the cherry error, and playing with cherry for the whole
Mhm.
game makes a huge difference, I would say. Helps
Yeah, it's
reduce
huge for
downs and
mob. Yeah, it helps you reduce downs, but you can also like, I've seen Furret try to play stairs on
mm-hmm.
mob without cherry, and he could not do it. Like, it was super hard, and I'm not sure you could do it. So, uh, yeah, I mean, it's huge. It allows you to run stairs the whole game, which is obviously that's gonna give you an extra 2 or 3 rounds. So,
Damn. Okay. So
yeah.
that'll bring us into like strategies on Mob of the Dead. So what is the most viable high round strat and most effective high round strat on Mob? Because I know there's OnlyFans, there's regular cafeteria, stairs, and I think inverted stairs. Out of those,
Yeah, I tend to call it MC stairs.
mm-hmm.
So, but yeah,
So out of those, what would be
as well.
The most viable and effective.
Yeah, just in your list is what I meant, but it's fine. So yeah, obviously, like OnlyFans is the fastest
Mm-hmm.
after Chris, you know, made it a lot better
Mm-hmm.
because the way it came out to begin with was not viable. Dipping through that trap is not you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as we've seen with Chris's 155 game, he errored.
Mm-hmm.
It is only one game, so I don't want to draw conclusions off of just that one game. I don't really like that, but uh, if I were to have to draw a conclusion off of it, I would say that um, best thing for you to do is probably do OnlyFans to about 140 because by that point, I think you can probably be like 2-ish hours faster
Mm-hmm.
um, than my 233 game. And then you go to running inverted stairs or MC stairs. And the only reason I would say his strat is because you shoot a lot less GAT, which I have footage on my computer where I just left the GAT shooting for like an hour
Mm-hmm.
and it went through a ton more ammo than what you'd actually get in a game. But if you remember my 233 game, I also froze
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I shot a lot more in that game than I ever have before. So, um, basically what I'm saying is I think shooting the GAT could possibly make your game freeze, and so using MC stairs would be the better option. Even though in a test, I actually found that, or well, let me back up a little bit. I was using for the test, I was using a uh, zombies remaining counter.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back in the footage after I ran MC stairs and the version of stairs that I ran. And what I found was I created a loop. So, like, say the loop starts from the time the trap turns off, I would note how many zombies were remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you finish the cycle and ended back at trap turning off the next time,
Mm-hmm.
I would note the number of zombies remaining. And if I remember correctly, it was like 54 zombies per loop. I could be completely wrong. I tweeted about it,
Mm-hmm.
so you can go back and find it. But what I found was if you do the same thing with my stairs and MC stairs, you kill the same number of zombies per loop or very close, which means the fastest one is actually going to be whichever one you can do best trap timing with. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
So it's whatever you're more comfortable with, basically.
Uh, yeah. Though if you want to max it out, I would say MC stairs or just get good at MC stairs because uh you shoot less. So
Okay. What's the difference between MC stairs and regular stairs?
regular stairs, when the trap's off, you run around the cafeteria kind of like you usually do,
Mm-hmm.
but you turn on the trap from the inside of the cafeteria and you just run into stairs as it's turning on.
Yeah.
MC stairs, you when the trap is off, you train outside the cafeteria by the MP5,
Mm-hmm.
and then as it's turning on, you run through the trap, uh, not on, but you hit the trap while you're inside the cafeteria.
Okay.
Um, it kills all the zombies that were behind you, and you sprint to the back of the cafeteria while that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so which is a new spawn zone, and they spawn just in the back of the cafeteria. And then you run and dip through the trap and into the stairs.
Okay. So you shouldn't have any zombies blocking you on your way to the stairs, like in that doorway?
No, you might. It's if you mess it up, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Or if you get stuck, you just down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's it's tough, but it doesn't happen often because what I've found is they don't spawn up there as heavily.
Mm-hmm.
as like with my version of stairs, as the version of stairs that I ran. So um, yeah, I mean, there's risk and reward to it. So
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, has anybody played out a mob game using the MC stare strategy?
I don't think so. Not that I know of. I think there's only been tests done with it, and that's it.
Okay.
So
So, let's say you have the ideal mob game. Like I know you said you're writing some sort of paper about the realistic and theoretical maxing of Mob of the Dead.
yes.
So for a realistic Mob of the Dead game, what strat would it be? How many downs would you have to have? And like, do you want to explain to us like how to max out mob realistically?
Well, I haven't finished writing the paper, so this could change, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, my initial thoughts are running, or you get the setup, you camp to 63,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes like 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think, is a pretty good time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into running OnlyFans to 140. Um, So that's going to put you a couple hours faster than me already. And then from there, you switch to MC stairs because you shoot a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that would be the game. And if I had to guess, that would get you maybe a 236 or 237. Um, I just did some like calculations on Zombicus
Mm-hmm.
to get those numbers. So now theoretical. Like, when I say theoretic oh, wait, you asked how many downs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you're gonna take a lot of downs running OnlyFans, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still gonna be faster. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you take 15 or 20 downs there, but once you get back to running stairs, uh, for the rest of the game, if you can take less than 15 or less than 10,
Mm-hmm.
that would be pretty good, I think. So total somewhere between 25 and 30 downs
Okay.
would be a really good spot. Now, like I said, theoretical, I'm going really theoretical with this. Like, say for instance, you can throw the tomahawk literally as quickly as it comes charged,
Mm-hmm.
and you kill 6 zombies with every throw. And what I figured out was it actually takes about 9.5 seconds at a minimum for you to do something like that. Um, so I'm not sure the calculations I'm gonna be doing yet with that, but that's gonna play in it. The most amount of zombies you can pull through a trap
Mm-hmm.
while it's on is gonna be huge, and getting perfect trap timing is gonna be huge. Uh, so because in normal games, you're getting to the trap a second late most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna add up big time. So over the course of the game. So I'll probably share it with the community once I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It'll be like end of the summer though before that happens.
sounds pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of an essay being written about zombies. Have you, Nick?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's pretty odd, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
My professor is pretty cool though. Like the class, it's all about this essay because I'm getting a math degree.
Mm-hmm.
Mathematicians usually are analysts, and so it was either pick like a generic topic like I don't know, sports analyst or something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into sports anymore, so, um, and I told him he was cool with, like, me writing a paper about zombies and about Mob of the Dead specifically, so, uh, pretty nice of him because otherwise I wouldn't have known what the fuck I was gonna do.
Yeah, that's pretty sick, like having something you're really passionate about to write about instead of some bullshit topic that you're forced to write by your professor. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a long paper, like 40 or 30 to 40 pages written, I think, not to mention like pictures and stuff. So
Oh.
he was like, if you don't enjoy it, you're gonna just hate your life while you're
Mhm.
doing it. So, and he didn't really want that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. That's a fat ass paper, dude. Holy shit. The longest
Yeah,
I've written is maybe like a research paper for high school. That's probably about like 8 to 10 pages, maybe. What about you, Nick? What's the longest essay you've had to write?
I don't even know. I don't even remember like writing like long essays in like high school and everything.
Yeah, Nick's just a full-time streamer, man. Fuck essays.
No. But yeah, on the bright side though, Stealth, your professor will definitely know how to play Mob by the time that's done. He could even
yeah,
go
maybe
boot up his PC, get BO2, get Mob, and then he's just high around. And the
get the
next thing you
record.
know, yeah, he's gonna take your world record. You're gonna see him on ZWR.
Dude, that would be so fucking funny, man. That would be
I'm
amazing.
I'm trying to keep the my name, like my online name, out of the paper.
Hmm.
Not sure if I'll be able to do it, but I don't know. I don't really want professors or people I know in real life seeing this.
You don't want to like
So
name drop after you're done with the class after you get your degree.
yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, okay.
I'm
No,
good.
I feel that, dude. That's probably like my mom came into my the premiere of our podcast today and she's just said hi and I
Oh.
had fucking ignored her and I was just responding to other people in chat and then she typed hi again with a period at the end. I'm just like, fuck, I gotta say something. I was like, hi at Sofsturm. I didn't even say like hi mom or anything. Like
Nice.
and then she didn't say anything after that, so I think she took the hint. Yeah, I feel that stuff. Okay, I think that Nick, do you think that'll wrap up Mob? Anything else we want to ask about Mob?
Mm. I mean, that kind of wraps up Mob for what we had for going over world record history, maxing out Mob. Stealth, is there anything that you would really like to talk about when it comes to Mob?
I think the only other thing that I forgot to mention
Mm-hmm.
when I was talking about Deniska is, uh, what I've gotta say about him is he had a 218 game
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. I don't remember when it was exactly, but that 218 game was on the same pace as my 228 game.
On console?
That is yeah, that
Oh
is
shit.
crazy, especially because it would've been, like, 2 or 3 years later
Mm-hmm.
that somebody would've even or well, no, Lamster would've probably come close a bit sooner, you know but he would've probably got fucked because that's his luck.
Mm-hmm.
But it would've been, like, 2 or 3 years later before anybody came even close to that, uh to his 218 game.
And
So,
so
I just gotta give him big ups for that one.
yeah, that's insane, man. I forgot what I was gonna ask. I had something that I was gonna ask about that game, but that's what I was gonna ask. So at that point when Deniska played his game, were people camping double tap to 63 back then?
I don't think so. I
Mm-hmm.
think 50-ish or maybe 55.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Chris is really the one who pushed, people to camp to 63. Before that, Lamster was the only one camping, further than 50,
Mm-hmm.
and he was only camping to 55, I think, maybe 56.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, at what point is it at 63 where double tap just or playing it just isn't viable anymore, or it's just slower at that point, or like
I
what?
I don't think you have the ammo, like, especially if you get a double ammo past 60.
Mm,
That's your last round camping at that point, I think.
yeah.
So, you just don't have the ammo to, stay there. Otherwise, you just gotta start using tomahawk, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You might
that.
as well be at you might as well be at OnlyFans getting the, like, 100 plus kills on insta kills,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Yeah, that makes sense. But Nick, you planning on trying double tap plus OnlyFans anytime soon?
Absolutely not.
Come on, bro. That'll make
I
mob
don't blame you.
interesting.
I don't blame you. It's
No,
I
I would
still
fuck it
suck
up
at
too
it.
much.
I've
Yeah.
played it for like uh, I don't know, 20, 30 hours, and I still can't make it to 100 without like taking a fuck ton of downs.
Well,
Chris has made it, I think, with like 3 or 4.
if
I'm
a
just like,
good player is gonna get like 15 or so, I'm gonna get like fucking like 50. Like,
Oh,
fuck.
you're not surviving. You're getting rid of all those afterlives in the first round. Yeah, I have 100 plus on mob from like 2 years ago or something. I have a 111 on mob. That's when I first met Stealth. I don't know if you remember, but you came in my chat
I
once.
kinda do.
Yeah, you came in my chat once, and I was like, oh, I was fangirling for you because I was like, oh my god, it's the guy with the Mob of the Dead world record. And I was out there playing slow, playing cafeteria, like not giving a fuck about times or anything. And I was so bored at that point. And I ended up quitting out on 111. Like I didn't even die. I quit out on 111 because I was bored, and I was like, I'm gonna
It's
go
a
play
boring strat.
yeah, I wanted to play Ascension. And to this day, I fucking regret it, man. I've only had one other game besides that, and I quit out on, I think it was like 70 or 80 because I got bored again. And I wish I played that shit out. I need to go back to Mob one of these days. And I don't know if OnlyFans is the move. I know it's definitely more interesting than Cafeteria
Yeah.
and Stairs, but I
Yeah,
need a
it's
150, man. I need
that's the
that.
only reason I would go back to it is because OnlyFans is more interesting.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's super boring. Even Stairs.
Yeah, yeah, I played Stairs on my last game, and I thought it was more boring than regular Cafeteria strat for some reason, because you just kind of sit there in the stairs, and on the regular Cafeteria strat, at least you get to run a little loop outside and throw your tomahawk more and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that, but I've also played, like, more regular Cafeteria than
Hmm.
anything else. So I had a 196, a 214, a 220, and a 228 all running that strat. So,
How many hours is that, dude? Like
I
400
don't know.
hours?
I
Like,
don't wanna know.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I could not do that, man. I don't have as much motivation to grind stuff like that. I really don't get how you do it or Furret or anybody else like that, putting in that much time and effort when like games get fucked all the time by a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
Hey, Nick, do you want to bring us into the next topic?
Yeah, so we'll be talking about some IW zombies. So, Stealth, what are some of your favorite things about IW compared to maybe some of the other Treyarch games such as BO1 and 2? Because fuck, like I swear, just like in the zombies community in general, like so many people give IW shit when like it's
Mm,
actually a really solid game.
Well, there are some solid maps, I would say, but, there are definitely some flaws outside of that, but I gotta say one of my favorite things from IW is the movement,
mhm,
infinite strafing. Even though I don't think strafing is actually faster than sprinting, outside of you don't lose any sprint duration,
mhm.
if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't think there's actually a speed boost benefit, not from what I can tell,
Mhm,
because I was playing with Pleasantly for that co-op
mhm.
and he was sprinting, I was strafing, and we were running the same speed. I wasn't bouncing off of him or anything. So,
But you could infinitely do that, and he would have to like stop at some point because of
yeah, sure. Yeah, at some point he would have to stop sprinting, whereas I could just keep going forever.
okay.
But
So for long distance, strafing is probably more effective, but for like anything short range, I would say
yeah,
sprinting.
it's not needed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I wish that was. I really like. I think you can actually kind of do it in some of the other games, but you do still lose sprint. Uh, like after you hit 3 or 4 strafes in a row, you're
Mm,
out of sprint. and you gotta walk for a little ways.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure actually doing that's faster in the old games anyways. It looks cool though.
yeah. I can't imagine the difference between like playing Black Ops 2, or I feel like the movement's a little bit clunky in Black Ops 2, at least like compared to
Yeah.
BO1, and then moving over to IW where it feels so smooth and like you can sprint for
Yes.
so long and just like
Feels
jump
so
around
good.
zombies. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I like Rave. It's I don't know. I think I like Rave and Spaceland just because it's all new to me.
mhm.
I've never played these games before, so I'm having to learn, and I find it really fun to learn about these things. So that's that's the main thing I would say that keeps me coming back to IW.
Have you ever tried out any of like the other maps like Shaolin, Attack, Beast?
Nope, never touched them.
Do you
Never
plan on
Oh,
touched
it?
them. No, I don't plan on touching any of those. I do plan
oh.
on going to World War II and playing the Final Reich,
Mhm.
and I think there are some other maps on there that, look pretty interesting. But then again, I could get there and just be like, "Yeah, I don't like this actually."
Yeah.
You know? It's I tend to choose the map that I'm gonna play based on if I can see myself getting the record in the future. If I can't, then I tend not to play it.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. I mean, like why waste your time on a map like playing competitively if you know that you're not going to have the motivation or like the chance to get the world record in any way. So, I understand what you mean by that, man. But did you watch Furret play Final Reich when he was trying to go for the world record
yeah.
though?
Yeah, and he told me something very interesting, something I didn't know. If I'm remembering correctly, it was something about Free Fire and how
Mhm.
the current record didn't even use it. I just kind of assumed that he did. And so when he said that, I'm like, "Oh shit, this record's actually super fucking open."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah, like if I remember, like he said 280, I think can be done or something like that."
And what's the current world
So
record?
I think 208
Oh my
is the
god. Like
yeah, yeah,
and how long
yeah,
is this game? Like how long is the reset?
30-ish hours, 35 hours, I think. Yeah, it's
Oh,
real
wow.
I
So it's
I love that. I love it. It's super short compared to, what I'm used to,
mhm.
104-hour games.
Mhm.
So once I finish Rave and Spaceland, which it might be a while, but I definitely plan on going to the Final Reich after that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting seeing the zombies community have more exposure to that because I'm sure when Furt played it, there was definitely a lot more eyes on World War II, and
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
everybody hates non-Treyarch zombies most of the time, and I'm sure a lot of people had their eyes open like, oh, one of the best players of all time is playing World War II, and then they see you like one of the best BO2 players, like Mob of the Dead world record holder, is playing IW. It's definitely. I mean, it opened my eyes. Before that, I wasn't really considering playing IW whatsoever. And then I saw you playing Rave, and I was like, this map looks fun. Like the fast strat at the Rave area looked
Yeah,
interesting and a bit scuffed, and then the fish trap looked pretty
can be.
chill and like I
Mhm.
could do that. Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
Oh no.
It's changed. It's changed.
Really?
Yes, the strats on Rave have changed
Do
for
you
sure.
do you want to tell us about, or well, first tell us about your Rave world record, which was a 243, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
243.
what did you do differently compared to the previous world record holder, if anything?
Well, it's hard to say since the previous record holder has all of his gameplay privated.
Oh my god.
Yep. So I don't know what the heck he was doing. So, um, I did see a little bit of his gameplay, like he linked me an unlisted video of it,
Mhm.
and the way he was, and you can tell in his montage of it as well, that he was playing the rave area much slower than what I was,
Mhm.
probably killing more zombies, but like I think he said he was playing it at like 24 SPH.
Mhm.
I'm playing it at, like, 16 or 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so big difference there, but we ran Fish Trap roughly the same, I think. It's, again, hard to say. I think he said he was running it at 28, I was running it at, like, 30.5, but the reason being is I think there's definitely been a patch between his game and my game,
Mhm.
and me and Pleasantly kinda think that, there are more walkers on the map at a time than there used to be.
Really?
Yeah, which would affect the
Yeah.
SPH because they're slow as fuck.
Mhm.
Uh, but we've done our research and we can't find anything saying that that was messed with, but and we've looked at other maps and records, across the game, and it seems like there are more walkers, but I'm not comfortable, like, claiming that that's the case for sure, though.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't wanna claim something if you don't know it's 100% true, so
Sure, yeah.
yeah, and so you were talking about earlier how you're like happy with the 243 until like a month later.
Oh,
What
yeah.
changed?
Yeah, so, the co-op that I did with Pleasantly,
Mhm.
and, I gotta give a shout out to Zidane as well. Zidane told us about a game that me and Pleasantly dubbed Getting Head. Um, Great name. But I think the name for it, the real name for it is Ben Franklin. He's like, so at Power, there's like a little side game down there
Mhm.
with a zombie strapped to a wheel, and the wheel spins whenever you play the game. And you throw knives at his head,
Mhm.
or you throw knives at him and you get money. If you hit his head, you get $100. Um, so apparently, if you hit all 6 headshots, you get a max ammo, and you can play this game once per round. If you miss, then you don't get your max and you can't play again till next round. But yeah, so that changed the game big time. That's an extra max ammo every round
Jesus. And
that I missed out on.
how difficult is that to do mid round?
Uh, well, what we do is we keep some trap bow ammo,
Mhm.
either that or we use a buildable, and I'll explain buildables later, I think.
Mhm.
But and they either kill or distract zombies, and you can just sit there and play mid round
Mhm.
while they're distracted. So, or killing, or the traps are killing. So, um,
That
the bad thing is though, you don't have a crosshair in the middle of your screen while you're playing.
uh-huh.
So now a piece of tape with a dot drawn on it, currently it just lives in the middle of my screen now, all the
Actually.
time. Like, I don't take it off, I'm too lazy.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, I guess
So,
it's useful on every game that has like a first person perspective. But
not really. Not really.
well, that's funny, dude. That
But
will
yeah.
completely change the game.
Mhm.
What are you thinking the max is now? Like assuming you played Rave area at the same SPH that you did in the previous game.
Uh, well, to give you a little bit of perspective, I played a game to, like, 150 something,
Hmm.
and I was 4 hours faster to 140 than my world record game.
And
So, I was
how
like,
far is that into the game? How many hours in?
that's 16 hours in my record game, 12 hours in my practice.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
massive difference. Like
it's
that's
huge.
huge, dude. Wow.
Yeah,
So I
and
said,
I think you can continue spamming like you see me doing,
mm-hmm.
at the rave area. Like, you don't even have to touch Fish Trap, I think, until 150 or 160.
And when did you have to do it before?
You started going down there quite a bit after 120 or
Wow.
maybe 110,
That's actually
so
insane, dude.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
I,
crazy.
I'm gonna need to see this. 'Cause I haven't seen this like headshot thing you're talking about, so I'm
If you
definitely
go
gonna.
back to my 50 SRs on the
Mm-hmm.
map,
Mm-hmm.
I also use it for that, and I can just spam like, I used to have a spammed, bow spam that I did to 30. Now
Mm-hmm.
I do it all the way to 50 because I have so
So
much extra ammo.
so when you do that and you get your max ammo, can you pick it up at any time, or do you have to pick it up then?
It just it doesn't actually give you a max ammo, it just refills your, guns that you're holding.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like,
So
you don't have a choice, it just fills it up right away.
so you have that and the rewind or whatever it's called. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, you
wow.
have rewind every other round.
That's okay. So
So it's a
Rave,
ammo and a half every
mhm,
round. That's what you have.
that's ridiculous, dude. That's insane.
It's
So,
yeah, Revelations has now taken on a new, more true meaning for the map.
mhm. do you,
So
do you have a rough estimate of what the max round could be now? Just a rough estimate.
a rough guess would say 255 plus.
Okay. Okay, that's
Big
a
jump.
big difference in a
Yeah, rounds were
100-hour
taking like
game.
2 hours at the end. If it was fish only, and still roughly the same if it wasn't fish only, really. So
Yeah, so I guess like let's say you went up 12 rounds and say the average round time was 2 hours. It's probably understating it. That's like 24 to 30 hours time save, somewhere around there.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
ridiculous.
I think I'm estimating like 45 or 46 hours to 200 versus my 54 hours in the previous game.
Yeah, and
So,
that's like halfway to 255, right? 200?
yeah, I think it's roughly halfway.
Damn, dude. That's a lot of time saved for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want to try out Rave really bad. I know I played it a little bit during winter break, and I was liking the map a lot, but then at that point I think I got back into BO1 and kind of been hooked on it since. But I think once I get burnt out on BO1, I'm definitely gonna have to move over to IW. Maybe Nick will play a co-op with me.
No, absolutely not.
Have you ever played IW?
Yeah, I've played like a good amount of IW. Not like recently, but when IW was the main game, I did play like a decent amount. I didn't get
Okay.
like super high rounds, but like yeah, I did low rounds. I was doing eggs. No, IW is fun, honestly. I just like wish like the community kind of gave it more of a chance, obviously.
Hmm.
Yeah, me too.
And
I think it's
everyone just wrote it off pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I did too until I saw Blahy playing, and it looked super fun. Or I think he was running Fish Trap, but
Hmm.
I the movement is what really captured my attention, and I'm like, I've got to give this a try. And yeah, I just really enjoy it now.
Yeah, I wasn't playing video games like at all when IW came out. I took a break from video games because I was brainwashed by my parents, thinking like they were useless and a waste of time. So I wasn't playing video games at all at that point. And so obviously I didn't play IW. And then I think I ended up buying IW maybe a year ago just for fun because it was like on sale or something. And
Hmm.
I tried the multiplayers. It was didn't really like it. Then I tried the Spaceland, and I thought Spaceland looked really cool. I didn't get super into it or anything, didn't grind it, but there's just not a lot of IW content out there that I could really watch and learn the map. So I kind of just like
Right.
left it and didn't really think about it much. Every once in a while, I'd come back and play it a tiny bit, and then when you started playing it, and then Shane started doing Easter eggs on it, and some of the other like Easter egg speedrunners, like I saw the game more, and it looks just overall like a super entertaining game, and like it's really refreshing to play something that doesn't feel like Treyarch Zombies, but it still does have that same feeling that I like of zombies in general. I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense, but
Yeah. No, I get that.
mhm.
I think something you brought up there is really interesting about video games being useless. I would like to talk more about that later, maybe, but just to see what that was. But yeah,
Mhm.
I hope more people. I already see it happening. Like since I've been playing, since Blahe's played his 206 game,
Mhm.
uh, more and more people have been like, "Whoa, IW Zombies good?" Question mark. I'm gonna buy it, and people have gotten into it, I think, or a couple people have at least. So
Yes.
I think that's really cool.
I mean, you can get it for like $20 with all DLC included and Modern
Yeah,
Warfare
Undead.
Remastered. So, I mean, like, there's no reason not to get it. You know, everybody has
Yeah.
$20 laying around somewhere.
Mhm.
But
Hope so.
yeah, it's really annoying when I'll go into a chat and if I say anything or anybody says anything about IW, people are like, "Oh, IW is trash," or if they say something about World War II, like, "Oh, World War II shit," something like that. And these people obviously never played the game that much, probably wrote it off super quick. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully some of the bigger players like you, Furret, I don't know who else would be interested in it, could play the game and give it some love and refresh like the zombies community because we're all burnt out a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I think Pleasantly definitely has a shot at, getting some records on the game.
Hmm.
So, he's one to watch if you wanna see IW.
Yeah, I've seen him play Fast Croc on Spaceland, and that looks super
Yeah,
interesting.
it is, it's so much fun. At first, I was having to focus so much whenever I was learning how to do it.
Hmm.
Now it's a little more chill, but I mean, you down really fast. They slap really fast once they do start slapping. So,
Hmm.
I mean, if you wait too long, you're just dead. And there's not a ton of safety on that. So you gotta conserve it, but also use it really quickly when you need to. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, I think I might get into some Spaceland. The only thing that's like turning me away from it is I know nothing about the setup and learning
Watch
yet.
Pleasantly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got a really good setup.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know anything about Spaceland. Just I kind of know the layout a tiny bit. So yeah, I'll probably watch Pleasantly, learn it, and give it a try sometime in the future because I am bound to get burnt out from zombies again. So we'll see
Yeah,
what
I definitely
happens.
wanna see that. Definitely wanna see that.
Yeah, I want to see you do it, Nick, because I know you've been burnt out from zombies lately. I think it'd be fun to try a different game, and you have a pretty big audience, and people like to watch you for you. Maybe people will start to like IW if you start liking it,
Uh, I don't
dude.
know.
No, why not? What?
No,
What?
no, no, no. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, well, like kind of like back to like I don't know, like Rave and Spaceland are like pretty interesting maps.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Definitely the
else is
bright
kind
spot.
of yeah, yeah, exactly. You look at everything
Everything
else,
else,
like you
I would
look
say
at
is
the
shit.
high round strats on those, like no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like Rave and Spaceland are the high points. Everything else, you know,
Is a
I don't.
low.
Yeah, it's bad.
What if they were to bring back like the IW engine and just redesign some new maps? Like I think that would be interesting. That could probably be way better than Cold War if I think it's Infinity Ward like
Anything would be better than Cold War.
yeah, what if they like the next Infinity Ward game they came out with another zombies mode that was similar mechanically to IW zombies, you know, maybe people would
Just
give it
make
some
better
love.
maps.
Yeah, make
That's all I can say.
yeah, the mechanics are great. Just make better
Yeah,
maps, you know?
yeah.
Only issue with that is that I'm pretty sure most of the IW Zombies team is not an Infinity Ward anymore. Because like they're just not making zombies anymore. Like you look at MW, there's no zombies. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure like part team that's actually interested, like Lee Ross and them, they're at Treyarch. Some are probably at some other dev studios. So
Let's not get them back then if
How do they
that's
fuck up
the
Cold War so bad? Oh.
well, I don't know like which part of them is behind Cold War. I don't know, but
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure there's some at Treyarch that were like still want to keep on doing zombies.
Hmm.
It didn't turn out for the better, but they're there.
Yeah. All right. One last little discussion for IW zombies. So and for you guys that don't know, Black Ops 3, which is loved by the community, has gobblegums. A lot of people see gobblegums as super OP. Some people don't care because they just don't use them, and then some people are in the middle. And then Infinite Warfare has a system that's a little bit similar. They have cards. They have fate cards and fate and fortune cards. The fate and fortune cards are the better ones, and fate cards could be compared to classic gums a little bit. But
Mhm.
Stealth, do you want to go into a little comparison of gums and cards? What's more OP? Like, I know you're
Sure,
telling us it's
sure.
more balanced with the cards.
Sure, I will, but I do actually wanna back up a little bit because I think one of the topics, like, how can my, IW game be improved?
Mm-hmm.
So not only can you get more, I said something about this earlier, but, not only can you get more ammo, but Fish Trap has also changed,
Mm-hmm.
and what you can do is you can use, buildables, mainly Kindle Pops.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you do that, though, is, um there are some gems that drop. There's, like, 3 different colors, and then there are totems around the map, and, so one of each color at a totem
Mm-hmm.
will give you Kindle Pops. Kindle Pops is just like candy, and you can pour it out in 5 different places, I believe, on the ground, and then shoot it, and it lights a little fire. So what you can do is you can use that while you're, like, training them around or hoarding them around,
Mm-hmm.
at Fish Trap and actually kill, like, 30 or 40 zombies in the middle of, like, fish traps. And so I did this one time or for a couple rounds. One round I got 24 SPH,
Mm-hmm.
one round I got 28. So no matter what, it's faster.
Really?
And you can chain them off of each other because they drop, gems. So, it's really nice.
That is. So there's a
So
fuck
there's a
ton
lot.
that's
Yeah,
gonna be
there is a
changed.
lot.
Yeah.
And if you can't chain, the Kindle Pops off of each other, then, I've also incorporated the waterfall trap, which is near spawn,
Mm-hmm.
because it gives you gems. Like, if you don't get the right colors,
Mm-hmm.
then you go hit waterfall, between fish. So which is slightly slower than fish only,
Mm-hmm.
but giving you gems, it makes up for it big time
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. I guess like all these things are being found now because not really that many
because of
people put in the
Pleasantly.
yeah, pleasantly and like not many people
I
put in
didn't
the
listen.
time. But before now, I don't think that many people grinded out IW. So like
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult to find all these new things if people aren't playing out a lot of different games to reset. So
Mhm.
that's good that you and
Trying different
Pleasantly have been
paths.
finding this stuff.
Yeah. That's those are the 2 main reasons, though, why I feel bad about my game
Mhm.
now. I'm just like, "Wow, I wasted 104 hours, great."
Yeah.
But so you ask about cards though, right?
Mhm.
So Fate and Fortune cards are like Mega Gums, like you said, but uh, I would say overall they're a lot less OP. Like there is basically a power vacuum card,
Mhm.
and you can use it. It's not like banned, but the reason is, and me and Pleasantly also found this out. It only drops 5 drop, so it's more like a raindrop. Um, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's no drop cycle, so who knows what the heck you're gonna get.
Huh.
Um, Yeah, and you still gotta kill zombies for it to drop drops. But I think it lasts 2 or 3 rounds, so you do get, like, a total of, 10 or 15 drops, but the only ones that are useful on, Rave is really max ammo, especially late game,
Mhm.
which is when you're gonna wanna use this. So,
What about the infinite ammo drop? Would that be useful?
I mean, it'll save you a little bit of time, but it's not much,
Yeah.
really.
Because that doesn't restock your ammo, right? It just means you can shoot it infinitely
Yeah,
in that
you
30
can kinda
seconds.
like Free Fire
Mm-hmm.
from, World War II. It's basically the same thing,
Okay, so it wouldn't be a
except you
huge
can't
time
recharge
save.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be huge. It wouldn't be that big at all. And insta kills are useless because you got to keep trap bows. That way you can play Getting Head or Ben Franklin, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So you can't even kill on kills. But yeah, so they're a lot less. They're a lot less powerful. First of all, and second of all, you can only use them 3 times in a game. You can use each card 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas, with Mega Gums, you can use them, infinitely-ish
Yeah.
type of thing,
Very often. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use 1 per round every round,
Mm-hmm.
or roughly, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then I mean, I would say that Classic Gums on BO3 is even more powerful than, uh, Fortune cards on Rave. A
Yeah.
lot more powerful.
Because in plain sight will basically save you in any
Alchem.
situation. Anywhere but here also will save you.
Mhm.
But yeah, Alchem is probably the main thing. That's a free max ammo essentially, and the ability to spam for that
A
thing's.
minute.
It's a minute you could spam.
I think so.
Nick, can you confirm? I know you play a lot
But
of.
yeah, it's a minute, and you also get 2.
You get 2 of
So
those,
yeah,
dude. Alchem is cracked, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, no wonder
Yeah.
the Ascension Classics times are so much faster than the no gums. You can just sit up at power and fucking spam T-gun for a minute straight. That'll get a full round
Get
done
Yeah.
for a while. Jesus. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and plus you don't even on Rave, or not on Rave, on IW, you don't even have cards that will save you either. You really have ammo cards when you're playing Fortune, but outside of that, they're really just used like if you're playing Fate only, then
Mm.
it's really just used for the setup. That's about it. So, yeah,
Yeah, it seems much more
super.
balanced compared to BO3.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's a good thing. I mean, Revelations doesn't need any help at being more OP than what
Yeah.
it's already gotten at this point. Maybe Spaceland needs
Mhm.
some extra help, but you know, outside of that,
Yeah. Didn't they fix, well, they called them elixirs in BO4, but I think in BO4 they kind of balanced out the gums. I think In Plain Sight was no longer a classic and Alchem was no longer a classic. So they
Mhm.
kind of
that's true.
balanced it out a little bit. There was still ABH, but the stuff was definitely
Plus you
less
can't use them
OP.
as quickly, I don't think.
Yeah, I think the cooldown took a very long time, a very long
Yeah.
time. And actually, I think that's better than having a gum cycle that you have to go through. It's less, there's less RNG in it. You can just activate it whenever it's ready. So that's pretty cool. I definitely like what BO4 did with the elixirs. I think that's kind of maybe a hybrid between IW cards and BO3 gums, maybe. That's
Yeah, I
definitely.
could
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good middle ground, but I also think the Infinite Warfare card system is solid too. So I don't really have a favorite.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't touched BO4 for the most part, so
Mhm.
can't really give an opinion on it too much.
Yeah, Nick,
Yeah.
you played a good amount of BO4, right, Nick?
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about
No,
that?
it's like fairly balanced. Not as balanced as like IW, but
Hmm.
it's fairly balanced. The thing about like classics though is you don't have to have like a gum machine hit. So like all those classic gums, all those like megas, like whatever they're called, you can just like spam. They're always on you. Like you
Hmm.
just spam, spam, spam. Right. I believe there's like a little bit of like a cooldown for classics, but like actually when like the game launched, like I remember it was like perfectly like fine. It was like when you pop one, you had to like wait like a while. But then
Hmm.
like they made it, I believe it's like where like yeah, like you can like pop like a mega and you don't even have to wait. It just comes back.
Really?
So you like
Yeah, that's
yeah,
not balanced.
if you choose to play like the megas version on BO4, you just spam like okay,
Jesus
it's like pretty
Christ.
much like imagine like Alchem, but like
Hmm.
you have like infinite of it. Like you
Jesus,
literally always have
dude. Oh my
As long
god.
as you have like enough of it, like like
Infinite nukes. You just get the
yeah.
record spamming nukes. That'd be fun.
That's pay to win. That's the
trying-
definition of pay to win
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
I'm trying to think of like what other like OP elixirs are there. I mean, like
There's a
obviously
max
there's like
ammo one.
drops.
The
Um,
carpenter one is good. The carpenter one for shield.
well, yeah, but you wouldn't run that. You just go do a shield run.
Really? I would think
Yeah.
for playing fast you would want, but does anybody play mega elixirs
Well,
for?
no,
think
I
it's
don't
more
think that many people
casual.
play megas. Well, yeah, well, like mostly people that play BO4, they just play it for like, like classics. Like it's not like BO3 where it's kind of like split. I would say. Like
Yeah.
no, BO4 everyone just kind of plays classics.
Yeah, I think the cooldown on the classics is pretty bad because I went to my
It's like
my
20 minutes or some
dude,
shit.
I went to my sister's house and they had BO4, so I was like, fuck it, I'll play BO4. And I put on the classics and they took a long ass time to regen. I don't know if it was time based, kill based, or what, but it was a long time, that's for sure. So that's good. I mean, that's balanced as long as you're not using the fucking megas. But yeah. Okay, I think that'll wrap up our IW discussion. Stealth, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we'll be moving on to our next topic, which is how pretty much the zombies community has changed. And the reason why we want to talk about this with Stealth is because he's been in the zombies community for a long time. So, I mean, kind of like my experience with the community, I've been around for like a little bit, but like obviously, like people haven't known me till like a year or so ago. I mean, just like the community has definitely changed. One thing I noticed, it's gotten a lot toxic, really, really toxic. I mean, like I just don't remember like the toxicity being this bad, like however many years ago, and like people being just like this divided over just this game. So, Stealth, what's kind of your just input on how the community as a whole has changed?
Actually, let's have Mike tell his side first before I go.
Okay. So basically, I've dabbled in like all parts of the community, so I feel like I have a valid opinion on this. I started off as a casual player who didn't play with a timer at all. I'd play a lot of BO2, and then I moved on to playing a little bit more competitively. Not like I had a timer. I wouldn't play fast at all, but I started watching more people. I started trying to play better, go for higher PBs, got my first 100 and everything. And then I moved on to some more like trying to play fast, and then I did Easter egg speedrunning, and now I'm back to like the competitive high round stuff. So what I'd say is when I first got into the community, it was a super chill place, but the community was dead. Like it was about 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that. It was super dead, you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
The top streamers in like the BO2 category were like 10 to 15 viewers, something like that. Like there weren't that many people streaming and they weren't getting a lot of views. And I had a really good time, you know. I met a lot of close friends back then, and the community was primarily casual that I knew. I wasn't in the competitive community at all at that point. So all my friends were decent players, but didn't try to play fast or anything like that. And it was great. And then when I moved on to playing with a timer, playing more BO1, I started to get a lot of shit from more competitive players for playing slow and like having a high FOV and all that stuff. And that's where like I started to think that like, oh, BO1 players are toxic, you know. I would play Ascension with my 120 FOV, man, and my slow ass games, and I was like, damn, these people are mean, you know. It didn't hurt my feelings or anything. I was just kind of surprised. And as I got better and as I got more established in the community, I got less shit. And, you know, I was chill. But then I moved over to Easter egg speedrunning. And when I moved over to Easter egg speedrunning, the speedrunners were super chill with me. You know, they all wanted to help. They're all nice. You know, they would meme about me being slow or whatever, but that's what we do. But the high rounders, when they saw me doing Easter egg speedrunning every single day, they would just come into my chat and give me shit, tell me how Easter eggs are fucking garbage and how I'm wasting my time and like Oh my god. I don't
Really?
understand
It's
the
that bad?
Yes, it was
I
it
didn't
was
realize.
like
They
my
were literally saying
friends.
Easter egg speedrunners don't have rights. Like,
and they were
What?
my friends too, like people that were like VIPs or even mods in my chat before I went to Easter
Gosh.
egg speedrunning. They just like the only purpose they had coming into my chat when I did Easter eggs was to tell me how shit Easter eggs were. And it was like it was annoying. It was very annoying.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I just kept doing my thing cuz it was what I was enjoying at the time. So I would say I mean that kind of brings us back to now where I'm super chill with pretty much everyone in the community. I don't have beef with anyone,
Mhm.
but I also am playing high rounds now, so I'm not getting that shit from high rounders anymore. So I would say that the community has a lot of safe places. Like if you're in the community already, you should be fine, but they do not like new people a good portion of the
Yeah.
time. They do not like if you're doing something that they don't agree with. Like if you have different beliefs like with how zombies should be played, if you're playing a different game, you're doing Easter eggs instead of high rounds. So yeah, the zombies community is great until you do something they don't agree with.
I
That's
think you're hitting on a really good point, and
yeah.
I think I'm gonna probably elaborate a little bit more on this.
Yeah, tell
But
us,
if
man.
I mean, if you're not done, then
Oh no,
continue on.
yeah, that kind of wrapped up my analysis of the community. Hit us up.
Okay. Okay. So this was definitely the best question you asked. It took me a little while to think about it, but this is a great question. So I've been in the community for 7 years. I was like 15 when I joined. I'm 22 now. So yeah, a long time. I think I started out watching Gamer O'Neill. I was mainly a viewer
Mhm.
for the first year ish, until I got my first 100. I would say I would consider myself a viewer. And after that, I kept playing and kept playing. Like you said, I've been more on the competitive side, even
Mhm.
if I wasn't one of the better players, and probably maybe still not. Uh, you know, but yeah. So the thing that I've seen though, over time is, well, I wrote my response for this, and I'm definitely gonna have to look at it. So give me
Mhm.
just a sec.
Yeah, you're good, man. Let's hear this well
Okay,
thought
yeah,
out response.
yeah. So some of the big players back whenever I joined was
Mhm.
like Frenzy, Dabrowski, Adopted, um, and I remember this is gonna be really funny to y'all because you weren't around back then, and the mindset's kind of shifted. But their mindset was if you didn't play flawless or if you had more than like one down in your game was shit. Like you down, you're shitty at the game. Like just restart, no matter
I
what.
Dude, that's actually like I played flawless for the longest time. Like I
Oh yeah,
thought, yeah,
I remember.
I love flawless games, and I think I got in the community when that was still a thing. Now people shit on flawless because obviously like locking QR and stuff, and downs don't matter as long as you like play fast and get high rounds.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. So the mindset has shifted to instead of playing flawless, it's
mhm,
play fast. And like you said, people take downs and like lock QR or get QR off the map
mhm.
to save reset and all that kind of stuff. Um, so let me scroll down and find my place here. Um,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing in the big competitive community. I thought that was just a thing between me and my friends. We tried to play flawless. We tried to go without
yeah, we're
downs.
just like casuals. Like, like you go down, you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why are you going down? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I actually remember, I think Mac and Rules, he was
hmm
around back then. I think he had the Doris record for a small amount of time, and he took 3 downs, I think, or he may have downed out of that game if I don't remember
Mm.
exactly, but Frenzy, I'm pretty sure Frenzy gave him shit for taking so many downs in his game. So, is which is pretty funny, like I said now.
Yeah.
But even I, like, have shifted. I've come into the mindset, "Oh, I've gotta play fast." Lost 30 seconds to 30, restart, must max out. Like, definitely do that. But I think that this mindset, well, I think it is the right mindset to have. I think it's also gotten to a point of uh, toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people spend hours and hours and hours restarting for a first box even, like on Mob, Shang,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure there are other maps, you know? I mean, it's like, why do we need to do I would rather see people, play out an actual game
Mm-hmm.
than restart all the time. So, um, but even after you get the, first box set up, if you need that for a map, well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what else you have to contend with? Good drops,
Dogs.
good trades, dogs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I see Doris players all the time restarting because they got fucked by drops in the 70 or in the 60s or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And then, like, Yezi's game is a great, game to reference whenever we talk about, games that got fucked over by, special rounds. Like, he missed so many instas, I don't remember how many exactly,
On
but
5.
yeah, he missed a bunch
Mm-hmm.
if like I said, if I remember correctly, but, um so the thing is all of this restarting, and, yeah, all the restarting, I feel like it takes away competition that could be playing out games.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of spending 70 hours playing the game, you're spending 20, 30, 40, or even more just trying to get a game started. Imagine if people could just hop on and within, an hour or 2 get a serious game going.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how many people would try maps they've never tried because, they just don't wanna put up with the RNG involved,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was so I was talking to Krups about this because he puts in a
Mhm.
lot of hours to
He's
restart
been
for the
restarting for like a month.
yeah, he restarts for the almost perfect game, for like round
Mhm.
1 times, round 5 times, like get a perfect box set up on Shang and still restart because it's slightly slow. And like I understand that, it's the perfectionist mindset. He wants to get the highest run possible. But I was talking to him, I was like, if you use let's say you used a first box patch every game, think about the
Mhm.
amount of time you would have in game compared to the amount of time you've spent restarting this whole time. You would be so
Yeah.
much better
Mm,
at the map if you could actually practice being in game rather than every few
absolutely.
hours being able
Like,
to do it.
I'm not a Shang expert,
Hmm.
but he's spamming too fast,
Yeah.
and he's gonna like, if he watches this, he's gonna kill me because he's tired of hearing that, but he's spamming too fast. I think even Furret has said it, and he knows the map probably better than anyone.
Hmm.
So, uh, yeah, I mean, he needs to learn how to use the ammo correctly, and he's not able to do that because he's spending so much time. Part of it's he's stubborn, but part of it's he's spending so much time restarting to
Hmm.
just to get the baby gun. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it drives competition away from these maps. The records don't get challenged near as often
Hmm.
because people are restarting so much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've heard a
think
lot of counter arguments against it though. Like I'm mostly for first box patches and stuff, but I've heard some stuff like if you are good enough to get a world record and you've put in the time where you're good enough to get a world record, then restarting for a few hours for a game doesn't make that much of a difference. I don't know how much I agree with that, because I think you would have more opportunities to actually get that world record if you don't have to restart so much. But I can understand where they come from with that perspective, you know? Like,
Kind of, but at the same time, like this mindset that the community has now,
mhm,
where if you're not like perfect in your game as far as times go,
mhm,
then you're getting criticized. It makes you wanna quit out when you start getting criticized for your times and stuff
yeah,
like that, and so and people just people, if they lose 30 seconds to 30, they quit. Like, what's that 30 seconds actually mean in the course of the game?
nothing.
Literally
Probably not.
nothing.
Yeah, probably nothing.
mhm,
So, like, why are you quitting at that point, you know?
mhm,
Um, so anyways, where I was leading with all of that, and I think you probably already know, is custom patches.
mhm,
I wanna see for maps that already require first box, like Shank, like Mob, first box patches,
mhm.
you know? Just cut out all the cut out the hour restarts for Mark IIs. I hate that crap. Lamster hates it too.
Yeah,
I'm sure Chris hates it too.
yeah, for sure.
Um, you know, uh, increase drop rate, at least in the early rounds, which is usually where they matter. But
Mhm,
for Shang, I know they would matter throughout, but uh, at least to like 70 ish, you know,
mhm,
um, increase drop rate because like I said, Doris players are the world's worst. They quit out because they just cannot pull a drop. Like
mhm.
they force 5, 6, 8 hordes. I've even heard Fleur say something about him forcing like 14 hordes.
No drops, or
Like, yeah, like what?
Jesus
That's
Christ.
so stupid. Like, so unbelievably stupid.
Yeah.
And then finally, I know Yezi would appreciate this one. Set dog rounds. That
Mhm,
way you either miss that way everybody misses the same amount of insta kill rounds, overall. Takes up takes out all the bullshit RNG. That's that's why I stay away from, maps like Doris and Shang or
mhm,
any trade map really, is because a lot like, sure, there is a lot of skill involved in it, but there's
mhm.
also a lot of RNG involved, and I don't wanna play these maps because I don't wanna get fucked by RNG. Like, I don't I don't fancy wasting my time like that.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I mean, I
And
guess with mob, I mean, is there any RNG once you're
outside of the first box, no. Not
no.
outside of the first box and drops through 70-ish, maybe
Yeah.
80.
Mhm.
Uh, not really, not really. But the reason I want all of this is because I think at the end of the day, this would, bring more competition to map, and I
Mhm.
say that because while in the short term, like, if not everybody's on board, it would probably lower, and I know I've heard Furret say stuff like that, like having, split categories because obviously patched games should not be compared to unpatched game. Like,
Mhm.
split the boards for that. But I think overall the meta should shift towards the patched games. That way people can get into games faster.
Mhm.
It draws people in more readily because I know, like you said, you've kind of been all over the place, Mike, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And you've never gotten super serious about high rounds.
Yeah.
But why is that?
Um, that is a very good question. I mean, I would say it just, I don't know if it has to do with what you're like getting at, but it is very, it can be very repetitive. Very, very, very repetitive. And also, I guess I can see it like having that perfectionist mindset. I haven't had a, like, I've usually just not cared about that stuff. But
Mhm.
like now having that mindset, like too slow restart, or like, oh, this setup is garbage, why am I even playing this, or I took a down before 80, why am I still playing, all that kind of stuff. I guess I think it will contribute in the end, like with me being burnt out from zombies. I don't think it has till this
Yeah.
point. Easter egg speedrunning,
Mhm.
definitely I felt that, because Easter egg
Oh,
speedrunning,
yeah, it's super RNG,
yeah,
right?
I started Easter egg speedrunning like going hard, I wasn't playing casually. I started trying to play the best routes and trying to get the best RNG and all that kind of stuff. So I felt that on Easter egg speedrunning for sure, that burnout from RNG, and I think having patches that reduce it would definitely make it more interesting. But yeah, I think in the future, if that's what you're getting at, yeah, having all this RNG and not having any control over it whatsoever would definitely be a reason for me to just not want to get too
Yeah,
deep into zombies.
it's super demotivating,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, and that is where I was going with it, is it's just super demotivating, and, not a ton of new people have joined the community and been like, "Oh, I wanna," and by join, I mean, like, not off Cold War,
Mm, yeah.
I'm talking about, like, BO1, BO2 mainly, but the community's been either stagnant or getting smaller for quite a while,
Mm-hmm.
um, and if it continues on this track, it's gonna die. And I like the community, I don't wanna see that happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I think this could be an overall good thing for the community, because people will see, "Oh, I don't have to wait," like, yeah, I'm spending a lot of time in an actual game, but I don't have to spend all the time outside the game
Mm-hmm.
to just get into the game, like, it's ridiculous. So, like
Yeah.
I said, I think it'll make the community grow overall.
Yeah,
So,
I gotta agree with that, because for me, I mean, just in the short term, using patches has made stuff so much more enjoyable. Like, I could just hop on Shinonuma, patch it up, and I could try to learn the strat. I don't have to go practice off stream with the mod menu. I could just pop in a patch and I could learn com room. I could learn the high round strat. And if I fuck it up, who the hell cares? Because I can just restart and get it again. And same thing with Kino. Like, the reason I've improved on Kino so much, like initially I was doing restarts for T-Gun first box, which it's on Kino, it's not too bad. But just once I started using a patch on Kino, it's just I would get games so often. I could play more risky, and I could try to play faster without the fear of having to restart for hours on end after. So I
mhm,
truly do think, as somebody who is not an elite level player but has a good amount of knowledge and has played a lot, I think that for people that are new in the community, and I mean even people who have been in the community for a long time, I think patches could definitely be beneficial. Nick, I
yeah.
know you've used patches at like certain points in time. How do you feel about it, man? Coming from the perspective of a like content creator, like mid-level zombies player, not elite, not casual.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything. I mean, like we've even been like trying to push it like on this podcast, like we've pushed like in our streams, like yeah, like the fact that like like anyone in the fucking community, no how good or bad you are,
Mm-hmm.
you have just your set RNG, and then you can get into a game and you can practice, and then like yeah, later on that leads to people getting better at the map, and then overall like that leads to more
Yeah,
people actually want to play the map, because
Mm-hmm.
right now, like competition wise, it's just people that are sane enough to fucking like do like all that fucking like outside the game shit and then get into the game, like like someone like Zomba, like like he'll fucking do it. Um and like yeah, just people like that. But like like if we go for the patches, like anyone can fucking do it, And then like yeah, that just helps people learn. Like
it
I'm all
would
for it just cuz like I want to see competition. I want to see these maps like get maxed out,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, it's also it brings things down to, like, more skill based.
Mm-hmm.
Something I forgot to mention, by the way, was fix trade averages. That's another thing I'd want to see because, like, not to be not to hate on Niraj, I love Niraj, but uh, the Darius Gauntlet game that he had with like stupid trade average, that should not happen. Like,
Was it bad or
not only
good?
is he, it was stupid good.
Hmm.
Like, I think he had a 14 trade average
Holy shit.
for like for really long time into the game.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not hating on him, and like what he was doing, and he's still like really good at the game. But imagine like a really bad player getting not bad, but like you know lower tier player getting
Like
that,
me?
and then beating the record
Oh
just because
yeah.
they had stupid good RNG. Like,
Idiot
how fair is
RNG.
that?
Idiot RNG. But
Yep.
Niraj got the idiot RNG even though he's fucking cracked. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, don't the here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not completely against RNG, but uh, I am against the state of RNG as it is in the game right now.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, here's something that I definitely wanted to say, and I wanted to draw this parallel. Personally, I'm just gonna read what I wrote. So personally, I think it's pretty comparable to America today. Actually, there are a certain wealthy few, and in terms of zombies, that would be like the big name world record holders
Hmm.
who are okay with the way things are.
Hmm.
And then there's like the middle class, lower class, which in zombies terms is players who either hold no records or a few, but people don't really care
Hmm.
about them too much, that see the injustice that's going on and they're tired of it, you know?
Hmm.
So I really wanted to say that. Like, I feel like that's such a good parallel to draw for this. So,
That's real. That's like a very valid like comparison. I like that. Like I guess usually it is like the big names in the community that are going to make change, and I guarantee you if Fur and Slayer both came together and told people that patches should be legit, then a large portion of the BO1 community would listen to it. So
yeah,
I, I think that's the issue though, because if the big
it's
players are never going to accept it, like if they don't accept it and they denounce it, we have no
mhm.
chance of making any sort of change within the community because nobody wants to be
No, I
like
think we do. I
really.
think we do. Yes, because here's the thing. For a long time, this is something I forgot to mention, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Hmm.
Uh, the community for a long time, at least as long as I can remember, and even I've heard stories from before I joined, the community is typically against change. So let me
Yes.
give you some examples. Apparently, this was before I joined the community, but
Hmm.
apparently, back when people first started using custom camos and changing their FOV, and I remember a little bit about changing FOV, like, Adopted was, like, this elitist that, wouldn't change his FOV, he said it wasn't legit.
Oh,
Uh, you know, some of these old like, they were against this stuff, like, they said it was cheating, any modification of the game, that's cheating.
but
Like, which
camos,
is
I can see
yeah,
FOV, but I can see
even camo
FOV. Oh, that's ridiculous.
yeah, like, I think Ace Red was the first one to use camos, and he
Hmm.
got the Kino record with camos, and
Hmm.
people didn't wanna acknowledge it as legit.
It's so fucking dumb,
It's
dude.
so funny too, so funny.
I mean, that shit's
But
still happening with like the casual community. Like when I don't know if you know Tima, he got the Origins BO2 Easter egg speedrun world record, and
mhm,
he got a lot of attention for that because I think Noah J and the Smith Plays all reacted to it, and there's just like a large portion of comments just saying like, is this guy modding? Is he on a modded game because he has different
yeah,
textures and stuff?
I've had people come into my chat when I'm playing Mob, and they'll be
Uh-huh.
see all the purple,
Hmm.
and they'll be like, "Oh, bro, why are you cheating?" And then they just get banned because don't assume. Uh, like, ask
That's
me what's going on, don't assume, please.
yeah.
But, yeah, and then so more recently, there was Redacted. There was a huge fuss with Redacted,
Mhm.
and here's how I think we can make change. It's the same way I made change and Chris Voltage made change with
Mhm.
Redact. People just started playing on it. Like,
Yeah.
I played the first ever full game. It was Mob 228.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, Deniska and K-Town and Lamster didn't like it, and I think there, were several more, but where are all those people now?
Using it or not in the community?
Yeah, exactly. So they've either changed or they left.
Mhm.
We just so peop and other people started playing on it, and it actually created more competition for BO2, by the way,
Mhm.
unlike what Deniska thought, so I will ding him there, but, uh, you know, and so the same thing could happen if people just start playing with patches. Start playing where Start playing with the first Fox patch, calling
Mhm.
it legitimate. Don't compare it to previous game or to, unpatched games,
Mhm.
uh, but play with first box patch, play with fast ray, play with, fixed dogs, better drop luck in the early round. All of that stuff into one patch and claim it. Claim it as its own category
Mhm.
and hope that people follow suit. And if some people don't like it, they're either enough people get on board with it or it dies, but you gotta try it.
Yeah,
I think that's
so y
I think that's the way to go about it.
so you're saying that you think that to make change in the community, you think that the smaller players like need to come together and get this going in order to make a change like this, not the big players.
Well, most of the big players seem to be against it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna have to be the small players. I mean, I definitely wasn't, like, a huge player, and still not,
Mhm.
but, I was a lot less known back when I got the 228 than I am now, and and Chris Voltage helped for sure, and really, he wasn't super known until his town game. Like, I think he'd been on DOA and, not getting a ton of viewers for
Mhm.
the longest
Yeah, his
before that.
Nuketown 96, I think. I think he had like 2 viewers or 3 viewers on his first Nuketown game, one of his games, because I
Really?
remember seeing him. I remember seeing like, oh my god, there's this guy on such a high round on one of the survival maps. Not sure exactly. I think it was Nuketown or Town, one of those, where he had
Mhm.
like no viewers at all, and this man was like 60 hours into the game, then like 80 hours into the game, and I was like, holy shit, who is this guy? And I remember like talking to some of my friends, like, this guy is grinding his ass off and nobody's watching. What the hell? And then like he got the record, then he got more records, and all of a sudden he's one of the biggest names in the zombies community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, stuff like that just happens,
Mm-hmm.
and, also, like I was saying before, where are all the people who opposed, changing FOV or opposed camos? They're all gone at this point,
Yeah.
you know? And most of the people who like I said before, most of the people who played or who were against Redacted, they're gone too, so you just gotta do it, force the community to face the change, and then try to outlast the people uh, who are against it,
Yeah.
and
I
that's the way to go about it.
I hope that like smaller players using it won't like I feel like there could be two outcomes. There could be the outcome that you're talking about where it makes change, but there could also be the outcome where because smaller and less skilled players are using it, people frown upon it even more. Like they could say like, "Oh, Big Mike and NicZombies, who are trash at BO1, are using these box patches," and they could associate box patches with like less admirable players. And
That's a fair point, but there's
mhm.
also, like, some really good players that are for this as well,
Oh
such
yeah, for sure.
such as Fleur and
Mhm.
Mirage, and I can't even name all the people. I think there's a Discord server,
The
for this.
optimal patch server. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there's so many people in here too, um
Lamster, is he starting to use patches on Origins, or is he still doing restarts for that?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't wanna restart for crap.
Mm-hmm.
He was asking to, like, before I even ever really thought about it, he was like, "Dude, we need to get a first box patch for Mob and Origins."
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and the thing is, it's so funny because he was against, Redacted to begin with, and then he just 180'd, like, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, there are some big players behind it as well, not just small players.
Yeah.
So,
But where should so this is I think I've heard this from people. Where does it
too.
stop with RNG? Like are we going to end up patching literally everything? How do we determine how far we should go? Because in some instances, like I think first box patch is cool, but then in other instances, like I enjoy the setup on Reese, for example. Like
Mhm.
like obviously you can't get ray gun from first box, but
Right.
hitting the box on Reese is a part of the game. But I guess you could also say that you could get a waff and monkeys from first box and you can get a ray gun first hit. So I mean it just depends on RNG. And then a map like Ascension, a huge part of it is hitting the box. And pretty much no one plays out an Ascension game without fire sales. So and but
Yeah.
you could
So
also get first box on that too. So I really don't know where I stand with some of these maps.
yeah, so, I mean, I think you're just gonna have to take things, like, one by one
Mm-hmm.
and make the decision one by one, but, like, so far from the people I've talked to, and I agree with them, is as far as first box patches at least, maps that require first box, setups,
Mm-hmm.
such as Mob, such as Shang, you use the first box patch.
Mm-hmm.
Maps like Derice and Ascension, people aren't restarting for first box or you just simply can't get it,
Mm-hmm.
then, you just leave that alone.
Okay. Yeah.
So, um, and I think, like, what are some other things we talked about? Box patches.
Set dog rounds or monkey rounds.
Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to just, like, get screwed over and miss, like, 9 or 10 instas in a game
Mm-hmm.
where and then have somebody else come along and have them miss 5 to the same round, and they just get the record over you because RNG, you know?
Do you think that it should be monkeys or slash dogs set the whole game, or just like from instas to game end? Like all
Uh,
like what the way Winter Wonderland did it with all four rounders and then set instas, or
I
just like
mean, the way I had thought about it was all dog rounds were set,
mm-hmm.
but, I mean, I don't know, I don't see a reason why it couldn't be the other, like, either
Mm-hmm.
one, I'm fine with either one on that case.
Yeah.
So
But I
and then I think we talked about drop rates as well, and like I said,
yes.
that's just like a early rounds thing, that way
Mm-hmm.
you can more consistently get through those early rounds.
So I
And
feel like a good example for all of this stuff would be Winter Wonderland, because I feel like Winter Wonderland eliminates a lot of possible RNG and zombies, and
mhm, yeah, I
maybe we
really
need
like
some
the
more
way
maps like that to test it out, see how it works, if people actually enjoy it, maybe get some of the other bigger zombies players on that train, and maybe if they like a map like that, they'll consider like putting it into one of the regular maps. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, possibly, like, I think, some of the players that I mentioned before, like Fleur and Mirage, they
mhm,
didn't end up playing that much of Winter Wonderland,
mhm,
and it was I think the reason was they slap you so fast on that map, and it
Mhm.
makes playing the fast strategy really, really hard. So hard that it was just demotivating
Mhm.
to even try to play.
Yeah.
So, I think that's why people stayed away before people, like, start bringing that up. Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. And I think the best thing about all of this is we can just kinda feel it out, like, implement a little bit at a time or a lot, and if we see that we don't like something, we can change it. We can go back. I mean, and we'd have to bring this patch down to a science, which would take a little bit of time, but,
Mhm.
I mean, once once it was done, though, and most people agreed on it, it's set, and that's a new rule set that I hope everybody would just kind of switch over to.
Mhm.
Uh, and like I said, for in the name of increasing competition and keeping the community alive.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would willingly choose not to do it. Like if it was widely accepted in the community to not have to restart for hours on end for a game, I'm pretty sure people would want to do it. I mean, besides maybe like world record holders that put hours into restarts and got that record, like I can understand why they would kind of be pissed, they put in all that time and now people are able to get into a game much quicker, but also,
Yeah,
like we
I
got to make change eventually. So,
I think what they're really against though is not it is people comparing the records,
mhm. Okay.
like patched records to unpatched records. It's not fair. I
Mhm.
mean, and I'll be the first one to say that it needs to be different categories. Uh, but overall, like I said, I want to see the meta switch to that
Mhm.
patched patched version of the game. So
Yeah. I think that's I honestly think that's the best idea. I agree with you there. Put it in a separate category. And if it's in a separate category, I also think people are less likely to hate on it, by
yeah,
having the
sure.
patched games in the same leaderboard as the non-patched games. Like, let's say somebody patches all of their RNG and beats like the 240 on Ascension, like people are going to be pissed because it's going to be on the same leaderboard and it's going to be above the 240 and the 233 and all that. But if they made a separate
At least
leaderboard,
they're kind of marking it, but, like, that's not good enough for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I
Like, I saw Kino and they were allowing round skipping, like, that's never
what?
been yeah, yeah, the
No,
Kino 30 SR, there are round skips,
that's so
a
fucking
bunch.
dumb.
Like, you got, like, 20 something 26 minutes or
I
something,
saw that it got
and I'm
deleted,
not
but
I'm not saying that should be a thing, by the way. That's like, I still think Zombies is complete every round in full. Like,
yeah.
I'm not that far down the line,
Mhm.
you know?
As
Uh,
long as everything is skill based. Like RNG
yeah, that's what I
really
wanted to
is
be
you
done.
have no control over it, Like you can be the best player in the world and get the worst fucking RNG and you can be the worst player in the world and get the best RNG and you have no control over that. And
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not completely against it, but, uh and I don't think you can completely eliminate it anyways,
mhm.
but, you know, I definitely don't like the way it is in the game right now, so
Yeah, hopefully we can take some baby steps, maybe we're not obviously we're not going to put in well, I think it'd be difficult to put in like set dogs and set trade averages, all that stuff all at once. Maybe first step is going to be first box patches and then the next step is going to be like a set trade average and all that stuff. Maybe eventually will come together to make a more enjoyable and more accessible and competitive game that people are more likely to join into. Like if I was a new player and I watched Krups play and restart, be like once he got in the game, I'll be like, oh, this is super interesting. But I would be like, I don't want to spend all this time restarting. I don't want to spend
yeah,
all this time quitting out of my games. I just want to have fun. And if they're gonna allow me to have fun without having to rely on RNG as much, then great. I really hope that opens up more things to the community. I just hope it won't be as I hope it doesn't get as bland as something like Cold War. I think that's an extreme, but like I'm sure some people believe like if you patch all the RNG, then the game will just become like numb and boring. So it,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard arguments such as like, "Oh, you're gonna do is push restarting further into the game instead of like," which basically
mm,
is instead of restarting at 50 or 70, you're gonna be restarting at 120 or something like that
yeah.
for and I'm not really sure if I think I would need somebody to explain where they're getting that. I'm not sure I see that. Um, I'm definitely open to ideas, like, I will change my mind. I've changed my mind many times on
Mm,
stuff like this, like, Fast Ray was one that I went back and forth, for a long time on, but at this point, I finally settled, but, you know, um, I think another argument I've heard was, like, uh, what was it? You were saying something earlier that made me think of it, and now I've lost my train of thought.
we can come back to it later if you can't think of it.
Yeah, that's fine. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, we can probably move on to a brief little discussion about Fast Ray. Nick, do you want to do a little introduction to Fast Ray for people that don't know exactly what it is?
Yeah, so I mean, we've only covered it like a million times on the podcast, but if you don't know what fast rate is, it's pretty much something only on PC. That most people use with like a macro, some use with key binding. Um, that pretty much helps you ray gun. You know, you empty the whole ray gun in like a second, whereas like normally it takes like a few seconds to finish the ray gun. And the reason why it's such a huge thing is because it helps games go faster. You know, full optimization of maps. You know, helps max out the maps. So, Stealth, can you give us your thoughts on faster, because I know you were really looking forward to talking about it just very briefly, but
Yeah, I mean, I listened to, the podcast where Zamba gave his thoughts on it,
Mm,
and I think you did a really great job responding to what Zamba had to say.
mm,
Um, like, let me read what I wrote here. There was a point at which the topic of how much skill it takes to do fast ray was
mm-hmm.
brought up, and you fired back with the fact that shooting the ray gun more quickly means that in a game you will inevitably go through uh, go through more ray guns,
Mm-hmm.
which in turn means more trades. And you pointed out that trading is usually a very skillful part of the game. I'm mainly talking about BO2 survival
Yeah,
maps here,
survival
but
maps.
yeah, so and I thought that was a great way to respond to his uh stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
However however, at the same time, I think and I'm reading again. At the same time, I think the idea that something needs to take more skill to be considered legit is absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
For instance,
Okay.
if we follow that logic, it means on Verruct, any game where people are not playing dat strat, that's not legit.
Yeah.
If Because dat strat takes the most skill on Verruct. If you did anything else, that's not legit. It doesn't take the most skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Same with Furret's, Shane game. He played a strat that 5 and 5 made recently,
Mm-hmm.
whereas, and that was one of the easiest strategies for Shane, I think, that's come out. But that's not legit because it wasn't Syntax, which everybody agrees is harder. You can see how this, like, you can go on. Like,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that
so
argument that skill, yeah, like for a game to be legit, you need to have skill. But no, sometimes the faster strat can also be easier. Honestly, sometimes the more optimized strat's going to be a little bit easier. It really depends on the situation. So I don't know if, like you're saying, I don't know if skill is supposed to be what we're using to determine whether a game is like legit or good or not. Yeah, I agree with that, man.
Yeah. And so, uh, oh, I guess this is where I wanted to bring up uh, the thing about custom camos and how people have been opposed to change for such a long time.
Hmm.
Uh, but let's see. Or wait, am I in the right thing? Yeah, I am. Um, oh, yeah. So, like I said, I want to talk, like I talked about how the community has been opposed to change.
Hmm.
And this is something that's like, it's a change, of course, and, uh, like, the thing that I don't understand is why was this not looked at as a new strategy, a newer, faster strategy that people just use, you know? And it's because people are just they don't wanna change. It looks a little weird. We had the little red herring that TTS threw us, with macros, and, like, his argument was, "Oh, well, if you're gonna allow macros here, well, then you gotta start allowing macros everywhere." But did we ever say that? Did the people who, that were for fast rate ever say, "Oh, we just wanna start using macros everywhere"?
No.
No. And also, what's the difference between fast rate not I'm sorry. What's the difference between macros and double binding again?
Um, I don't. I mean, one is, I guess, more built into the game than the other.
Uh, so what I really wanted to do with that point though is a macro what is a macro? A macro is where you hit one key and it carries out
Yeah.
multiple keys tasks.
I
Hmm.
believe that's the difference. I think like macros you can only do in like certain equipment, whereas like a keybind you can do in kind of anything.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, double binding, it's still having one button do
Yep.
multiple tasks.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So is it not a macro by
Mm.
definition?
Hmm. That
And
makes
me like
sense.
like
Is
the thing is it's literally
but
like a macro, but anyone can do it.
yeah, true. I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know why people were debating on like the difference between macro and double binding, but because it's the same thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, those are the main points I wanted to push across. Is you know double binding and macros, same thing.
Hmm.
And why did people not look at this like a new strategy? Why did people say, "Oh, well, for something to be legit, it has to take more skill," when there are plenty of examples of things in the game that obviously don't follow that pattern, don't follow that rule. It's so silly.
I think that's a good argument, man. Honestly, like I don't know what somebody could possibly use to argue against that specific argument that you just said. Obviously, there's some other arguments that people have against fast trade, but yeah, like if somebody is saying that like fast trade doesn't require as much skill, then you could bring up that argument with like not all the world record strats require the most skill. Some of them require less skill because they're more viable. Some of them are gonna some strats just happen to be easier. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I,
mean, yeah, I think I'm tired of hearing this conversation that's been
mm,
going. I think everybody is because it's been going on for so long. But I especially hate the point that something must take more skill to be considered legit. If it's faster
mm,
but takes less skill, it's not legit. It's got to take more skill, and it's just silly.
yeah. I mean, if everybody wants to play fast and the goal is playing fast, then do whatever you can to play fast. Do whatever you can to play fast for a long game,
Well,
even if that.
that's maybe not the best argument because just use God mode that way or no clip and you don't get stuck. And You know, I've heard people argue like, "Oh, double binding's in the game, and with double binding, you can do fast race, so fast race in the game, so it should be used." God mode's also in the game. It shouldn't be used though, obviously, and we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
So that's not a good argument either.
Okay. No, I understand what you're saying. So, what would be the argument? We all know God mode is bad, but what is the argument against God mode being in the game then? If it's in the game,
It's a
like
survive. Well, okay. So what do you how do you define? I almost gave it away, but how do you define zombies as a whole? How do you define the game mode?
survival, I think you're getting at. But...
Yeah, I was gonna say survive. It's a time based because of reset
Mhm.
survival game.
Mhm.
So uh, the objective is survive and play fast, or yeah, survive and play fast.
Mhm.
God mode takes out all of the survival aspect of the game, and
Okay.
therefore it should not be legit.
Okay. And Fast Ray does not take out the survival aspect of the game, but
No.
contributes to the playing fast part of the
Yeah.
game. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could just take it back to
You
basics and
saw my
like
face right now. I'd just be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah,
what are
just
people thinking?
yeah, just take it back to basics and maybe think about Fast Ray like that. But do you know the arguments that Furret has against it? Because I know that after he used it, he denounced it in his game, and obviously he doesn't use it anymore.
Yeah. Are you gonna have Niraj on?
Yeah, I talked to Niraj in chat, and I think he said he wanted to come on. So yeah, we're probably gonna have him on.
Maybe leave that question for him.
Okay, yeah, we will then.
'Cause
We
I think
will.
he does a really good job explaining that.
Okay, sounds good.
So
Yes, we will leave that question for Niraj. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add about Fast Ray, or is that gonna be it?
nah, I've got nothing.
No.
Nick?
I said everything.
No.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing I have never tried Fast Ray in a game. Like, do you think I should try it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing a map with a ray gun,
Mm-hmm.
why not? You know? Again, it's like people have got to start using it and pushing it through and force people to like. I know some people like you said, Furret had a game with it and then
Mm-hmm.
denounced it. But if people play with it and then just stick to it, stick to their game, then people have got to really face it. Then
Yeah.
like, is the game, is it legitimate or is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of players have already, uh, you know, already say that um, that fast rate is legit. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of pushback, but could be wrong.
No,
But
I think the community's pushed more towards like pro Fast Ray instead
yeah,
of like people don't really give a shit anymore. Like a lot of people just, do what they want in zombies and, not really care what other people are saying about it. Like people aren't even submitting to the leaderboards half the time anymore and
I know.
yeah. So, I think that's a good thing. You know, just got to play zombies the way you want to play it. And obviously that only goes to a certain extent. If you want to play with God mode, that shit shouldn't count. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta stand up for what you believe.
that's for
So
sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll bring us into our last topic. Nick, do you want to get us into that?
Yep, our favorite, Obey Undead. And then so we talked about it on the last podcast, but yeah, we want to talk about stealth because if you somehow don't know, stealth somehow got denied to the top 25. And the reason why that's such a big thing is because Obey Undead at first they were presenting themselves like as a competitive commute or team per se.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then that's pretty much like probably the reason why stealth even went for it was like they're trying to focus on competition. And he was like a top 2 just objectively best player, like him and Kuki. Stealth is probably the most insane high rounder in there, while Kuki's the most insane egg speed runner, and
Mhm.
Stealth literally didn't get accepted. So now we're sitting here thinking, well, okay, they're just gonna focus on content, but then they're trying to promote themselves on Twitter as a competitive team. So yeah, Stealth kind of just get into like what were you thinking when you entered the RC? What's happening now, and just like your thoughts on getting denied, like just
Yeah,
kind of like the mess over there, honestly.
yeah, sure. So, like, whenever I first decided to go for it, the main reason was I saw everybody else that was like around me. So that's BO1, BO2 high rounders. They already wrote it off,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm like, well, it does have potential to grow the community if it's done correctly. And by community, I mean specifically competitive high round community, speedrun community,
Mhm.
or round speedrun community, as well as the Easter egg side of it. But I was pretty sure that people from that side would go for it more so than the high round side.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out I saw nobody going for it from the competitive high round side. That was like a top player, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna give them a shot.
Mhm.
Let's see what they're all about. See if they really are going to be this competitive team. And that, like you said, that's the way that they marketed themselves kind of to begin with. And uh, you know, so I was pretty confused when they didn't pick me for the top 25. I was like, not to sound cocky, but I knew I was the best high rounder uh, within the pool of 50 that got picked for the first round.
Mhm.
And so basically, what it tells me is like, while there were some, Easter egg speed runners like Earthomon,
Mhm.
like I had no idea who he was, but like I watched some of his stuff later on, and I'm like, oh, this guy's good.
Yeah.
Like at
Earthamon and
Easter
Kuki
egg.
are both solid. Yeah, for sure.
And I hadn't really heard of Kuki, but like I went and watched him a little bit as well, and I can tell that he's good at Easter egg speedruns as well.
Mhm.
And and it was really confusing that he just barely made it because top 26 all of a sudden, like,
Mhm.
what? Uh, but I actually did go back through all of the top 25, like, their submissions for the top 25,
Mhm.
and with another person who actually made it. I'm not gonna name drop, but basically the conclusion we came to was most of the people who made it were content creators,
Mhm.
uh, or maybe streamers, and a lot of their content looked very similar to Greg, or they were friends with Greg.
Mhm.
So, and I even have a message. I did screenshot some messages from the Discord,
Mhm.
and Greg was saying that he was only like he said I only knew 7 people who made top 25 before the RC, but I respect my opinion, which I had said something before that. But 7 out of 25, I did the math, that's 28% of the contestants. That's quite a few to make top 25 that you
Mhm.
knew beforehand.
Yeah,
And
that
then
is a
if
lot.
and I said later that, if I go back and really analyze these, I would guess that 50 to like 50% to 66% of the people who made it were content creators that made content very similar to Greg's.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying he was biased on purpose, but there does seem to be bias there. I'm not gonna lie. So, and then I think, let me see, may not have screenshotted that message, but he said something about, if you play, uh, oh yeah, here we go. He said, "One thing that should be said regarding the challenge is what you are doing with your content to make you different or stand out.
Mm,
Playing the same maps over and over is the same old thing every day. It doesn't make you stand out. Everyone is guilty of doing that. If you're a streamer, you should try to go out of your comfort zone and try something new." And, like, while there is stuff to be said about, trying something new,
mm,
if you're gonna be a competitive team, these records and want, like, world record holders, these records, not only do they take skill, and knowledge, they take a lot of dedication, and Krups is a huge example of this. Like,
oh
look
yeah.
how much he grinded for most of his records,
Mm,
I mean, it took him a long time of playing the same map day in, day out to get those games. So, and if you don't want a person like Krups on your team or myself, you know,
mm,
and Kooky just barely making it, like, can you really call yourself competitive team, or is it, I think you hit it in the last podcast, is it a competitive team or not? And I think by not picking up me and, like, just barely, like, including Kooky, they've shown that they're not gonna be a competitive team. It's mainly gonna be centered around content creation,
mm.
and yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue with having the team centered around content creation, but if you're gonna have that, you need to declare it and don't market your team as like in the Twitter bio, like world records, tournaments, and more. Like, let us
Mhm.
know, like, this is a content creation team. Because if this was a content creation team, like, I can guarantee, I would assume that you probably wouldn't have gone for it. Krups wouldn't have considered
No.
it because Krups considered it for a while, but then he was like, you know
Mhm.
what, I want to see where they go with this before I decide I want to like go in. So he decided against it.
I don't really
Um,
like that logic, but okay.
yeah,
That's what
and
I told them.
and me, I would think I probably would have gone for it because like, I'm into content creation, but just with all the
Mhm.
things that happened, like stating that it's a competitive team, and then the fact that a lot of this stuff is like centered around Cold War, and Cold War players are seeming to get priority, and there definitely is some bias. Like, as much as I like Greg and respect Greg and MC, like there is definitely some sort of bias there, with like
And
people that are friends with the owners or like mod for them, have donated to them or any of that kind of stuff. Or
yeah, I'm
and
not sure all the blame should go on Greg.
oh
I
no,
mean,
yeah, for
part
sure
of the
not.
reason this is going on, at least to some degree, if Greg doesn't realize the bias, then, the reason it's actually happening is because all these other people are sucking up to him,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which, if you have some respect for yourself, you really shouldn't. If you're really wanting into a team, you should want it because of your own merit, not
Yes.
because you're sucking. Wow, that was okay. You
No,
know where I was going with
yeah,
that.
I made it a point to
That's not what I meant to
not.
say.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but I made it a point to like not do anything special to like get in with the owners. Like, I didn't even follow Grizzly on Twitch until maybe a week ago, and I just talked to him
Yeah,
for like a few minutes or so,
I
and
was the same way.
like I didn't follow him on Twitter, like I didn't go into Greg's chat any more than I would usually do. Didn't go into MC's chat any extra, I just kind of did my thing and I was going to see what happened.
Mhm.
I don't like, I feel like that would be disrespectful, honestly. If I was the owner of a team, I wouldn't want all these people trying to get close to me solely for the fact that they want to get on my team. I would be like,
Right,
I would be upset with that. So I was like, no,
I understand.
I'm not gonna do this. Like, that's disrespectful to the owners and disrespectful to myself. So like I did
Yeah.
my own thing, I grinded out, and you did that too. And I bet
I
it.
literally got like multiple records on IW
Yeah.
during the
Honestly,
during
like that's
the
literally doing something unique and new, because for your whole
it's
career
something
you
I
played,
hadn't done.
yeah, you played like
I'd
BO2
played Mob.
Mob. Yeah, and then you went to a new game and like invented some new strats, got some records, did co-op speedruns, solo speedruns. You did fucking everything you could possibly do besides like sucking dick from the owners. And you didn't make it, even though your skill is up here. And no like bad talk to any of the rest of the team. It's just there's a huge gap because you're the only high rounder on that team that played at the like elite level that actually has a legitimate world record like on a
Well,
solo map.
I think some people had like Cold War records or previously did, but
Cold War doesn't
I
count.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're sitting there in one spot shooting the ray gun in like two spots. Not sure how much skill that really takes.
Yeah, and
I mean, people
also
who never played zombies before getting 200s, 255s, which at this point shouldn't really count as a high round.
mhm.
The mindset needs to shift, but that's all I'm going to say about Cold War.
Yeah, and all those records would be beaten if there wasn't all this crashing anyway. So
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know how much we should consider Cold War records as records because like there's plenty of people that are good enough to get like 1,000 plus. It's just like they're crashing, you know?
who's not good enough. That's my question.
Who has the most dedication to sit in a corner spamming ray gun and ring of fire for the most hours, you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
You know, right now it's just like who has the god version of the game that crashes less. That's like literally what it is.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
it's bad.
can we also mention real quick how like in stage like 1 of the RC when they were trying to get top 50, they were like, "Oh, make sure you mention your world records," and that
Oh my
literally didn't
god.
mean a single thing.
I guess
Oh.
not.
That literally just came into my head a minute ago. Like, and now I'm thinking here, like, why was that even like a question if your focus is content creation? Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, I think we hit it on a good point earlier. It's not the fact that they're focused on content creation. It's the fact that they're lying to themselves about what they're really about.
Yes.
So that's what's the most annoying.
Yeah, like I was really hopeful for the team. You know, everybody was skeptical in the competitive community. Like I had a lot of people say like, "Why are you going for Obey Undead? It's just gonna be bullshit. It's not gonna do anything." And I was just like, "Nah, I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna try it out. You know, I have faith in them." And like it's not what I was expecting. You know, if I came in there knowing that it was content creation and it went like this, I would be perfectly happy. You know, I think they're doing mostly a solid job. If this was about content creation, there's some people that they denied that was a little bit iffy content creation wise. I was kind of
Yeah,
confused about that, but
I heard you talk about that last podcast, and I don't know who it is because I don't watch content. I don't watch zombies content outside of Twitch streams. So
so well, one of the main people that they denied Joe Met, who like I hadn't watched much, but I know that man grinds his ass off for content, and he's got solid viewership on Twitch. He makes a lot of content on YouTube and like solid content there too. Nick
mm,
knows him. I think he can vouch for him. But like,
I can vouch for that.
if you're looking for content creators like that are gonna make you like successful, he was probably one of the most obvious choices, and they
mm.
denied him. And then I said like if they were a high round team and they or competitive team, they denied you. Like,
So what are
where is
they
this?
doing?
Yeah, what is
Yep.
like if they're denying people on both ends of the spectrum? What exactly are you looking for? There has to be
It,
some sort of bias in
it
there.
yeah, it really makes me say, you know what, there's definitely bias going on
Mm-hmm.
here. If that's the case, again, I don't know this person, but I'll take your word on it.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm pretty sure there's some bias going on. So
Yeah, this top
pretty
10,
sad.
this
Pretty sad.
the top 10 is going to tell us a lot though. Like
Oh
the top
yeah,
10 we're
absolutely.
really going to see like if they
Is that
decide
announced?
to I don't know, but I know the challenge starts on whenever tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow the challenge starts.
And challenge ends on the 13th, and then I don't know when they announce,
Probably
but
end of the month I would assume.
Okay. Yeah, never mind. I was thinking like maybe this podcast would go up after that because or after they announce it. That way they don't like, we don't influence them and we see truly what they're about. you
I
know.
I
doubt
don't
that
think they watch the podcast.
Greg does.
Okay.
Greg does.
Okay, but does he watch every single podcast like in length? Like is Greg listening to me right now? I mean,
I
maybe he is, but like,
Greg, if you're
I don't know.
listening, comment down below. What's up, man?
I mean, I know like Greg's like really busy, like
Oh
with just
yeah,
everything. Like I really don't think he has time like that. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah. But we'll really see what the team is about in that top 10. And if I was still in there, I don't know if I mentioned, but I dropped out of the RC to you guys if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like if I was in there and I made it, like I'm biased obviously, but I think that I would have been a solid choice because I do content creation, I have a podcast, I stream, I play relatively competitively in zombies. I've done high rounding, Easter egg speed running, all that kind of stuff, you know? So I would think
Mhm.
that I would have been a good choice. And that honestly would have been interesting
I
to
always
see.
thought so.
That would be interesting to see. Like if I got denied and you got denied and like Joe Met got denied, like
And kooky.
but I also have known Greg for a long time, so I don't know if there could be bias there also.
See, I've never spoken to Greg really outside of last night, which is like when you left, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not super nice. I was as nice as I could be, but also being pretty honest
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
brutally honest with him about what I thought. And like, I do have to say that he was very professional.
Mm-hmm.
And I do appreciate that because, like I said, I was giving him a hard time. So,
Yeah.
but outside of that, I also told him like, if you really are trying to grow like the competitive zombies community, I think you're going about it in the wrong way. Um, so, and at that point, we just agreed to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that went.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Greg as a content creator and just like as a person because he's done a lot. He's done a lot for the community, you know, just making the zombies legends. I know it's just like a name that goes, it's just a team that we're on, but you know, he seems like he tries to go into smaller streamers chats and you know, get to know them, show them some support, give them raids and like he's always been one of the like biggest content creators that's actually going in deep with the zombies community. And I have a lot of respect for that, you know? Like not a lot of people are willing to put in the time to get to know the smaller creators, but he has been for a long time and like I respect him a lot for that. I just think that with the team Obey Undead and some of the decisions being made, it just I definitely don't agree with them.
Yeah, I and I think there are several people within the top 25 or who made the top 50, you know, who agree with the or with what we've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
So because I've had several messages from people like that uh, who were on my side. So
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah. Do you think that Obey Undead has any potential at this point? Like in any way, shape, or form? It could be content, could be competitive or anything.
I mean, I think there's still potential for content because
Mm-hmm.
this morning I woke up to a message. Grizzly had said something,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he was like I think I said something about it being a cash grab,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty rude. But
Yeah, I saw that.
I think you're being dishonest if that's not a part of it at some point, like
Mm-hmm.
in this plan. But you know, he was saying stuff like, you know, there's always other ways to get in and stuff like that, which is true. But I'm tired of hearing it because he said it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, he has said that a lot.
you know, but so I think it still has potential for content, but and maybe for the egg speed run community.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as high rounds go, probably not because at this point, like I'm gonna confirm the people's suspicion or the people I hang out with, their suspicion that you know that it's not going to be about growing the high round community.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't think they need me to do that, but
Yeah.
I'll do it anyways. And they're probably not gonna like even if they did get hit up and I can't see people like that or I can't see high rounders joining even if they're asked at this point.
Hmm.
So content creation, yes. High round competitive, no.
Yeah. Nick, how do you feel about that, man?
I kind of agree. I mean, there's maybe a scene for there to be Easter eggs, speed runs, like something competitive with that, especially because like Greg's kind of in that scene.
Hmm.
Maybe there's a chance, but yeah, just kind of look at like the high round side. I think that's in the nicest way chalked. That it's just not happening.
Yeah, maybe Cold War. I mean, if they're getting the best Cold War players, I guess, on the team, if I mean that kind of confirms your suspicion of money grab because BO1, BO2 players most likely aren't going to be getting the views or the money that these
Yeah,
Cold War players are going to be
and
bringing in. So,
yeah, and even Greg said something last night in the conversation we had that,
mhm.
the older he likes he said he liked the older games,
Yeah,
but
he said he likes
they
them
don't
more.
pull the viewers or
Yeah.
they're not as popular is
Yeah,
what I think was the wording he used, but you know,
yeah, I think you sent me a screenshot of that, but yeah.
I'm
It
not sending screenshots of messages. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I must have been thinking of
It's all
somebody else. Yeah.
it's all good. I think if I'm taking screenshots, people can assume.
Mhm.
So I usually don't do this because I got mad at people for doing this a while back.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it too much, but
Yeah. All right, boys. I think that's gonna wrap up podcast number 8. Nick, do you want to
yeah,
send us out with this, man?
Yeah, so make sure you guys check out all of Stealth's link. They'll be at the top of the description. You also Mike's links will be down there. My links will be down there. Make sure you guys go check out on Anchor if you haven't already. We are pretty much on most major listening platforms, so yeah, you can go through there. If you want to watch or listen to us on like Spotify or something, while you maybe can't watch on YouTube, feel free to do that. I think that kind of wraps up everything.
All right.
yeah,
All right.
sounds
Thanks for
good.
coming on, Stealth. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed
thank you.
having you here, hearing your opinions and stuff.
Yeah, I was pretty excited after I saw some of the questions and stuff like that. I knew it'd be pretty good.
Hmm.
So I just hope I didn't bore people being like information overload type of guy because I tend to do that. So
Nah, you're good, dude. I enjoyed it. I'm sure a lot of people in the community, especially in the competitive side, are going to be able to enjoy this episode. So, yeah, thanks a lot, man.
and then there will be some who are mad at me
Yeah,
thinking I'm, you know,
maybe
wanting
they
to
can.
change everything overnight. I don't know.
Yeah,
They're afraid of change again. So
maybe they can come on the podcast and tell us why you're wrong. So
maybe
that'll be
maybe I get
great.
a rebuttal for that.
All right, boys. Thanks everyone. Thanks everybody once again. We'll be back next week with another episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.